Hey yogis and yoginis, welcome to your first Wednesday practice. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, you will get on Canvas. You'll come to the Zoom class if you can. There will be a reading about a philosophy, piece of information. We'll do a practice that has to do with the philosophy and a meditation. On Wednesdays, we will just do yoga, and then you'll need to upload your Canvas response that I did class today. And we are on the honor system because we're practicing Satya, which we will do next Tuesday, which is all about truthfulness and honesty. So for Wednesday practices, we will have a 40-minute yoga practice, followed by a 5-minute seated meditation and a 10-minute shavasana. So if you did last class's practice, you experienced the 10-minute shavasana, or the 5-minute shavasana that we did, and the seated meditation. And if you were not, go back and do that so you can get those points, because last time was worth 100 points. Today will be worth 20 points, and you'll get marked attendance as soon as I see on Canvas that you say that you've done your practice. Also, if you are not able to access the full length video and your bandwidth is not working, internet not's working, make sure that you check in the disclosure and the syllabus and about this class for all the other options that you can do instead of practice. So that said, make sure that your space is uncluttered. If you don't have a yoga mat, like I said last time, that's fine. If you do have something that could be used like a yoga block, stack of books or something, if you're less flexible, its job is just to bring the ground up to you so you don't have to reach down so far, okay? So totally optional, and we will get going. If you have a bolster or a pillow or a blanket that you want to use for the end of class in your meditation, then you can grab that and we will start our practice. For today's practice, I'm going to have you start either, you get to choose, in seated meditation, or you're going to come into what we call child's pose. So child's pose, knees can be together, knees can be apart, but you're going to walk down and rest your head onto the ground, okay? So hips are going to melt all the way back. For those of you that are a little tighter in your hips and your low back, you might need to come up onto forearms, you might need to tuck toes, you might need to drop your head down, okay? So choosing a pose that works for you. Rest down in that pose and close your eyes. Whenever you're in child's pose, I will not take it with you because it's harder for you to hear me. So if you popped up like I did, go ahead and bring yourself back down and stay. And then as you close your eyes, give yourself permission to begin to tune into your breathing. Take a moment to feel your inhalation come in. And take a moment to feel your exhalation come out. Take a moment to feel your body in space. Notice if there's any aches or pains that you have going on today. Notice if there's any areas that there's a little pulling or a tugging or a discomfort or a sense of ease, like I feel really good in my body today. Notice any areas that might feel overstressed, overcharged, undercharged. And just make a general note of awareness of what's happening in your body. You might even say to your body, I'm listening, I'm paying attention, something that lets your body know that you're willing to tune in. Create an intention for your practice. That intention might be that you're willing to listen to your body and not push farther than your body is willing to go today, that you're not going to force anything, but just intentionally breathing and moving to pull sensation up in the body. Beginning your ujjayi breath, inhale through your nose, and then open up your mouth, audibly exhale like there's a little mirror in front of your mouth and you're going to fog the mirror. And then breathe in through your nose if that's possible. If you've got sinus stuff going on, breathe however you can. And then each time you exhale, open up your mouth to make your breath like there's condensation on the mirror. When you get used to that sound and sensation in the back of your throat, begin to close your mouth for both your inhalation and your exhalation. Inhaling and exhaling. At any time during class, if you lose your ujjayi breath, just go back to kind of hear and feel my exhale. So take another inhale here. And then as you exhale, slowly round your back up. You're going to make a tabletop position with your body. So your shoulders are going to stack directly over your wrists and your knees are going to stack directly over under your hips. Take an exhale and push your spine to the sky and then shake your head no. And then release your head, let your belly drop all the way down. Pull the back of your head to the back of the tailbone. Take a big inhale. And then as you exhale, round your back. So we call these two poses cat-cow. The bottom pose where your back is kind of scooping down is cow pose. And as you round your back to the sky, this is cat pose. We use cat and cow a lot at the beginning of our practice to warm up the spine. We always want to pay attention to spinal motion, spinal mobility, because so much is going on in your spine in life. So as you come down, see if you can sink and melt. Let your shoulder blades kind of shrug and tuck together. And then as you exhale, push your belly button and your ribs and your shoulders to the sky. Inhale, drop down one more time. And then come to a neutral spine. I'm going to walk my right hand forward and lift my left arm to the sky. So if you're facing me, it's going to look like this. You're going to dive under and place your head on the ground. Okay? So bringing the arm open, take an inhale. And then as you exhale, slide your forearm behind your wrist, pull down to your shoulder and the side of your head. This front hand can stay. It can walk up and over your head so you get a little bit more open space to lift your sternum, rolling onto the back of the head. You're going to take your hips away from your front hand. So there's a little bit more rotation moving through the spine. And then just close your eyes. Breathe in. Breathe out. Remember that your practice is about observing sensation in your body and that there is no right or wrong place to feel the sensation and no right or wrong sensation to feel. It shouldn't feel any certain way. There's no boxes that you have to check. Our practice is a practice in being in the present moment. Can you be here right now, feeling this inhale and feeling this exhale? Take another inhale. See if you can stretch your ribcage a little wider. And then as you exhale, see if you can squeeze your belly a little stronger towards your midline. And then gently bring your front hand back around. You're going to plant your left hand under your shoulder. Inhale your right arm open to the sky. And then as you exhale, dive your arm underneath. You're going to repeat the pose on the other side. Resting your head down. Pull your hips back and away. And you're going to work that spinal rotation. We call this pose thread the needle. So threading the arm underneath. And then just close your eyes and breathe. Inhale, ribcage wide. Exhale, belly engages. Take another breath. And then slowly unwind. Bring your knees back a little bit on your mat, and you're going to walk your hands forward and melt your head down. We call this puppy pose. Some of you are going to stay fairly lifted, where your head's not going to come anywhere near the ground. Some of you, your head will come all the way down. Some of you are going to come into what we call anahatasana, where you take your sternum and your throat open down onto your mat. The goal is not to force, and the goal is not to push. The goal is to say, where does my body need to be? And then breathe. Close your eyes, inhaling, and exhaling. Take another breath. Hug your belly up and then lift your shoulders, slide your hands back. You're going to come into a plank position, just like you're going to do a push-up. Your hands are directly underneath your shoulders, okay? So take a breath, and then as you exhale, pull your hips back, drop your head down in between your arm bones, and shake your head no. For those of you that are more visual, I'll turn side so that you can see. If your heels need to lift, let them lift. If your heels can touch the ground, let them touch the ground. Take a full breath in. And then open up your mouth. Exhale. Start to press your belly towards your thighs.
engaging your core, and then you're going to pull your biceps in towards your ears. Take another inhale, and then as you exhale, walk your feet into your hands. Take an inhalation, hands might come to shins. This would be where you might use your block or your stack of books or whatever you have to lift the ground up to you. Shins are a great option because they're attached to you and they're not going anywhere. Take a breath. If you can touch the ground, go for it. And then as you exhale, melt yourself down. Take your hands behind your head. Shake your head, no. And then nod your head, yes. And then let your arms dangle down. If you need support, walk your hands up your legs. If not, arms dangle. Pull your belly in and round your back up. Once you're standing tall, take an inhale. Reach your arms to the sky. Take hold of your left forearm. Pull up and over. Take a breath. Classical half moon. We did this pose last time. And come back up. Inhale. Reach your right arm up. Exhale. Tip over. Just looking for sensation in your side body. Inhale, press both arms to the sky. And then as you exhale, diving forward, we're going to come into what we call a sun salutation. Drop your head down. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Plant your hands flat, and you're going to walk yourself back into that push-up position. For today, whether you need to or not, go ahead and put your knees on the ground. And then you're going to lower your rib cage right in between your elbows until your body's completely flat. From there, get a little length through your legs. Roll your shoulders up and back, and then you're going to pick up your hands. Okay? Tuck your chin so your neck is long, and then just breathe. So you want to feel the back body engaging without clenching the low back. Okay? So take your hips, pull them down a little bit. So it's like you're taking your tailbone and pulling it towards the floor so your low back is getting longer. If it feels okay, you're going to put your hands on the mat and start to lift. Some of you are going to come up just a little bit and you'll roll your shoulders up and back and you'll stay. Some of you are going to come up about halfway and keep pulling those shoulders into your body. And some of you are going to push yourself up all the way. Take your throat open to the sky if it feels okay. Inhale. And then as you exhale, melt yourself all the way down. Hug your belly off the mat. Tuck your toes. Push yourself up to your plank. Lift the knees off the ground. Pull your hips back and drop your head. Back into your downward facing dog. Inhaling and exhaling. Take another breath. And then as you exhale, mindfully walk your feet. So when I say mindfully, all I mean is pay attention. What does it feel like? How fast, how slow? Do you feel your feet hitting the ground? Inhale, lift your spine up, hands to shins if you need to. Exhale, fold back down. And then you can roll your back up like we did before, or flatten your back, engage your core and your glutes, and lift yourself high. Take your left arm up and over, breathing in, breathing out. Inhale, center. Take your right arm up and over, breathing in, breathing out. Inhale, come back center, press both palms to the sky, and then either roll your back down or flatten, swan dive all the way forward, hands to shins or the ground. Drop your head down. Inhale, lift and lengthen your spine. Today, step your right foot forward, step your left foot back. So last time we took a few just little knee bends in the lunge. So take those here, but take your forehead. You're going to tip it down like you're looking at your back foot. When the knee comes down, the foot disappears, and then when the knee comes up, it comes back in. You're constantly pulling your belly up. There's a little rounding in your back. One more, and then stay here. If the ground feels really far away and you have a block, feel free to put your hand on it and rotate your chest open to the sky. Now the cool thing about the blocks is that they have multiple heights to them if you need it, okay? But whatever you're choosing, make sure it's stable. Take an inhale and an exhale. One more breath in, little twisted lunge, come back. Take your front foot, step it back. So you're back in your plank position. Last time I had you put your knees down. You're welcome to do that again, or keep your knees off the ground and lower yourself down all the way flat. Take the top side of your feet flat, roll your shoulders up and back, and then start to peel your spine up. Take a breath in, and then as you exhale, melt yourself down. Lift your hips, push your arms straight, and then extend your knees. Pull your hips back down, facing dog, drop your head heavy. Take a big inhale, and a long exhale. Breathing in, breathing out. Inhaling, exhaling. So last time when you stepped forward, you probably stepped forward with your dominant foot. So pretend that you're going to step forward, feel which foot you would move with, and then you're going to choose to move with the other foot. Notice if you hit your foot heel, ball, toe, if you hit the ball of your foot first, just notice. And then lift your spine up and melt back down. Once you're back down, hands on shins if you need them to be, step your right foot back. So we're back in the lunge on the other side. If you used your block, you'll slide it underneath your hands. You stack shoulder to wrist, and then open up into your twisted lunge. Breathing in, and breathing out. In this lunge, we want to make sure that we're stacking bones and lining things up. So we want our knee right up above that ankle. So make sure you have a nice stack, and then rotating so that the shoulders stack. Keep pulling your shoulders away from your ears. You tend to carry a lot of stress and tension on the shoulders. If you've heard the phrase, weight of the world on your shoulders. For some of you that feels true. So pull the shoulders down so you feel the strength of your back supporting your upper body. Take another inhale. As you exhale, bring both hands to either side. You're going to frame your foot, step back. You choose knees or extended legs, and then slow lower. Once you're all the way down, pull yourself forward and up, and then this time, if it feels good, you're going to lift your thighs off the ground, push the mat away, open through your sternum, and then melt yourself back down. Tuck your toes, pull your belly up, push yourself back into your child's pose, drop your head down. Breathing in, and breathing out. Take another inhale, and then as you exhale, round yourself back up. Come into your plank first, and then pull back into your down dog. Take an inhale, and an exhale, and I'll turn this direction so it's easy for you to see. You can stay facing whatever direction you're facing. Take your right leg and pick it up. Inhale. As you exhale, put your foot in between your hands. Now for a lot of students, because I've taught yoga for 20 years, when we take the lunge, the foot hits it by here. So if that's the case for you, just pick it up and help yourself. Push the ground away. Find that lunge that we did before, but this time, your back foot, move this so you can see, is spinning flat, okay? So spin your back foot down, take your forearms to your front thigh, lift yourself up, so you have a long line from your back heel to the crown of your head. Now depending on your back, some of you are going to stay here, okay? Because it will feel better to have that elongated spine and support on your front thigh. Some of you are going to push up off that thigh, coming into what we call warrior one, where you're going to sink down, so this front thigh is coming parallel to the ground, knees stacking over your ankle, opening your chest up to the sky. Breathing in, breathing out. In our warrior one, we want this back hip rotating forward, almost like a little headlight, shining out to the front of our practice space. Take another inhale. And then as you exhale, if your low back's not feeling good, you're going to put hands on thighs before you come down. If it's feeling fine, you'll be okay to bring yourself down. Then the back heel lifts, step back to your plank, inhale. And then as you exhale, whatever way you want to come through your chaturanga, come down. Cobra is when thighs are on the ground. Your cobra can be low, your cobra can be high. Upward facing dog is when the thighs lift. So take a breath, and then press yourself back You can take a little extra push-up. You can push off your knees, whatever feels good to you. Take an inhale and an exhale, and then pick up your left leg. Leg can be high, leg can be parallel to the ground, leg can be low. I don't care how high your leg comes, but make sure that it feels good for your body. Take a breath. As you exhale, pull your knee to your chest. You're going to push off your back foot, round your upper back so there's space, so much space I have for my leg to come through. And if it doesn't make it, help it, okay? Spin your back foot, so this time you can see my heel moving in towards you, and then just press up to forearms. So you have that long line from your back heel to the crown. Breathing in, and breathing out. You're welcome to stay here in this elongated spine. Maybe you push your hands to the thigh, or maybe you just reach up. Take a breath in. Exhale, sink into your body. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, drop your shoulders. See if you can get that back hip to rotate forward. Feel what you feel wherever you feel it. And then as you exhale, hug your core, come down. Both hands on either side of your foot. Lift your back heel, step back into your plank. Chaturanga. Inhale, open up. Exhale, lower down. Press back to child's pose. Melt your head. So the reason, stay down in your child's pose, that I keep bringing you back to child's pose is because I want you to know that it's somewhere that you can go at any time during your practice. Okay, while we're online, I don't know if you stay in child's pose the whole time, and honestly, I don't care. Yes, I want you doing something, but more so I want you listening to your body and what your body needs. Okay, so if your body's up for all the moving, all the stretching, all the holds, all the challenges, please take them. Okay, if you are in pain, because some of you might struggle with chronic pain, and you need to ground down, or maybe your mental health is like, I just need to tune in, child's pose is a great place for that. Okay, if it hurts your knees, you might want to lay flat on your belly. Take a breath. As you exhale, round your back up from your child's pose. You're going to bring yourself back into your tabletop. We're going to come into a little spinal balance. I'll just turn side so that you can see. Pick up your right leg and your left hand. So just floating on the ground. Like I could slide my hand under your hand, but not way high. Okay, same with your knee. So practice just taking your floating hand underneath that knee. Make sure it's not super high. And then you're going to start to extend your arm and your leg out. Your goal here is to stack shoulders and hips parallel. So you can put a little teacup on either shoulder, either hip, and not knock them over. It's helpful if you engage your glute and you flex your foot like you're pushing into something, and then hug your belly up. So sometimes it might be helpful to cough one time, which is not socially acceptable right now, but oh well. So coughing one time, you feel your abs pull into your body. We want to keep that engaged so that the back is supported. So reaching the arm nice and long, inhale, and then as you exhale, see if you can round your back, touch your elbow and knee together underneath you, and then come back to that full extension. Exhale, and send it out. One last time, bring it out, and then we'll switch sides. From week to week, we will progress postures. So for those of you that know progressions to that, and you're like, oh, but I wanted to do that, be my guest or come with me. Take a breath, slide your hand under your knee, make sure it's not super high. Bring your hand back out to float, and then send your arm and your leg straight out. From here, plug your shoulder, pull your belly up and in, fire up your glute, and then flex your foot like you're pushing something away, reaching that floating arm long, breathing in. If this gets too much, feel free to come back to here to just practice that little hover. Inhaling. As you exhale, elbow knee connect. Inhale, send it back out. Exhale. You should always be able to hear your breath. And if you're at home with your family members and they're like, why are you breathing like that? Just invite them to do yoga with you. Lower your hand and your knee back down. Tuck your toes back into your plank. Inhale. And then as you exhale, pull back to down dog one more time. Take a full breath in. And then as you exhale, walk your hands and your feet to the middle of your mat. Okay? You're gonna turn your toes out. You should have about 2 fist widths between your heels. You're gonna melt your hips down. Your goal is to eventually get your hips all the way flat and lift your hands. For today, you might need hands on a block. Lowering your hips down might only come halfway. And for you, your heels might be off the ground. Okay? Doesn't matter, but just move in whatever way you can move. We're just going to come in and out of this a few times. We call this yogi squat. It is also called malasana. Like I said last time, there will never be a vocab quiz on the posture names, but some of you might want to know the names, so I will give them to you. So come down one more time. Malasana. Malasana is also called Garland's pose. If you have the mala beads where you use them to count your breaths during your meditation, that's the garland that drapes around the neck. So there's the history of the pose. Elbows are going to push into your inner thighs. Hands are going to press into your heart. Again, your heels might not be touching the ground, but if it is comfortable, let them melt down. And some of you might want to sit on your block, okay? Or maybe a higher height block. If you have really tight TFL, hip flexors, low back, glutes, you're going to want to elevate and support yourself with something, okay? Throughout the coming weeks, we will progress malasana to different movement in malasana, okay? But we're not going to crank into it all at once. So take an inhale. And then as you exhale, release your hands, lift your hips, turn your toes forward, and then start to sway your spine from side to side. You might need to place hands on shins to sway your spine from side to side, and you might be comfortable putting your thumbs in the crooks of your elbow. And then like your spine's a little elephant trunk, just swaying from side to side. Come center. Drop your arms, hug your belly, round your back all the way up, roll your shoulders a few times. And then you're going to plant your feet right underneath your hips, opening your palms. Weight is going to shift into your left leg, but please make sure you don't walk your knee out, but there's just a little bit of a bend in that knee. Pick up your right foot, and then we're going to talk about your gaze. In yoga, we call it the drishti gaze. Drishti gaze is a steady focal point. So you're going to choose a spot on the ground, somewhere out in front of you, and your goal is to not let your eyes move from that spot. Floating foot can stay floating. You could put your heel against your ankle and tap your toes to the ground. You could put your foot at your calf. If your clothing permits and your flexibility permits, you can also put your foot up into your inner thigh. The only thing I do not, no, never ever want you to do is to put your foot on your knee, okay? That's a no, because it's too much pressure on the joint, okay? Push your foot into your leg, push your leg back, zip up your core, lift your sternum, hands come to your heart, and you're gonna take your eyes back to your gaze if you moved it. If we were in the classroom together, I would call out some names to see if you looked at me when I said your name. Yoga is the only place where you get to play the drishti game. So if something distracts you, if somebody's home with you and they say your name, you might hear them, you might notice them, but you're choosing to stay focused. Sometimes in life, there's distractions. And our practice can help us tune into, this is where I'm choosing to place my focus and my awareness. What's important to you? Where do you want to place your energy? There's a cliche phrase that says, energy goes where attention goes, or energy flows where attention goes. Take another breath. Hug your core to support and balance. Let your eyes stay steady on your spot. Release your foot and plant it down. You can choose to stay looking at your spot. Pick up your foot. Maybe you click your heel in, tap your toes down. Maybe you place it on your calf. Maybe you pull your foot up and in. But once you do so, if you chose to move your eyes around while I was explaining, like I did, then you put your gaze back to your little spot, just like your name is written on it, and you're watching
your name be written, and then tune into your body. Can you feel your standing foot kind of gripping the mat? If you feel yourself wobbling, yoga doesn't care if you wobble, okay? Yoga doesn't care if you fall over. Yoga says, notice that you fell over and get back up. Trusting the process is part of our practice. So is self-discipline. We call that tapas. We'll talk about that in a couple of weeks. Choosing to do the hard things. Choosing to show up when you don't want to show up. Choosing to get out of bed when you don't want to get out of bed. Choosing to drink water and eat healthy for your body because you know that you'll feel better if you do. Choosing to go to bed early at a good hour because you know that when you get enough sleep that your body and your brain perform better. Take a breath in. Hug your core. Lift the foot. Send the foot all the way to the ground. Sweep your arms back up. And then increasing from your hips, flowing forward. Melt your head to the bottom. Remember, please, that you can put your hands on your shins and stop. Flow all the way down. Inhale. Lift your spine. Turn your toes out. We're going to go into yogi squat one more time, just as a preparation for something optional. I was going to say fun, but fun is a relative term. Take your wrists, roll them around. And if you need to sit, you can sit, okay? Roll your wrists in the other direction, and then give them a little shake. So we're going to come into a pose called bakasana, or crow pose. There's a bunch of different ways to take it, okay? But you're going to pretend that you're doing your plank position like you just did, with your arms straight out from your shoulders. And you want your index fingers parallel with one another. One way to take this pose is tricep to shin connection, okay? So you can see my tricep and my shin connecting there. Another way to take it is knee on your upper arm bone, okay? I would say that tricep to shin is going to be a little easier for some of you, more accessible, so we're going to try that one first. So hands come out in front of you, like you're going to do your push-up. You're going to lift your body up so that your weight of your shins is pressing into your triceps, and then you're just going to come to your big toes. Now, if you're at home, which you are, you're all at home, what am I saying? Maybe you're at work, I don't know. And you have your bolster, or your pillow, or your stack of blankets, or you're like at some bottom stairs and it's carpeted. A safe way to feel this is to put your head down on whatever safe surface you have, so you don't feel like you're going to crack your head, okay? At that point, you might feel safe picking your feet up off the ground, okay? Some of you might not even be able to get down in this crouch, so if that's the case, I'm going to invite you to come here on your back and pull in for a few breaths, and then you'll switch, and just keep switching that back and forth every few breaths until we finish up, okay? So that you have something that works for your body. So for the rest of you, triceps to shins, you're going to plant your hands, lift your heels. Think about squeezing in and lifting up. So you're going to lift your behind. You're going to come to tiptoes, and some of you are going to pick up one foot, but this other foot will stay on the ground. Look forward, because if I look back, I'm yelling timber, okay? I don't know, is that Miley? Who is that? Don't quote me. So you're going to lift, pull your belly in, maybe both feet come up. If both feet come up, you're going to squeeze your belly and pull your feet to your tailbone, and then start to round your back and lift. Okay, getting the full extension of the arms is a little bit harder when your triceps and your shins are pressing together. If you need a little break, roll your wrists. If you want to try the straight arm version, lifting up a little higher, knees come basically into your armpits, okay? Spread your fingertips wide, grip the mat, look forward, not back, because if you go back, you're going to smack your head. So look like 2 feet out in front of you. And then just practice that balance shift. And then try pulling your feet up. Find your focus. And if you're up, go ahead and gently release. You're going to come into a seated position. Legs out in front of you. Flex your feet, hands back behind you, lift. And then think of like karate chopping your hips and folding. So if your hamstrings are pretty tight, hands come to your shins, tuck your chin, elongate through your neck, breathe. If you have the flexibility, you're going to keep melting, keep melting, keep melting,
Keep melting. This is seated forward fold, or Paschimottanasana. It also translates as extreme west pose. Close your eyes. And just tune in to your body. You might have something to stack on your shins, like your bolster or your block, your pillow, whatever you're using. You could rest your elbows so that your head has something to rest onto. If you can rest your forearms on it. Just to give yourself some options of supporting yourself. Breathe in. And breathe out. Hug your belly on your next exhale. Lift your sternum and then walk yourself all the way up. You're going to bend a leg. I don't care which leg. Make your left leg, make your right leg, doesn't matter. Take hold of your shin, lift up, and we're going to twist in. Some of you are going to keep your foot inside your inner thigh. Hand's going to come back behind you for a kickstand. Your goal is to get your spine as long as you can. Instead of slumping down, you can see my back grounding in the mirror. Pull yourself up and then hug into that twist. Some of you are going to want to cross your foot over because it's going to allow for a little bit deeper twist. Remember that we're twisting your spine, not your neck, but if you want to turn the head, that's fine. Just make sure that the majority of the sensation is through your core and your back muscles. Draw your shoulders down, lift through the crown of the head, inhale. And then as you exhale, think of squeezing your abs up and in. Like when we coughed and your abs kind of engaged, pull them up and in. Well, Marichiyasana variation, unwind, switch sides. So if you were in class last time or you watched the video, choose your foot inside or out, lift and rotate. You heard me say that the word asana means seat, okay? So the traditional asana is going to be lotus pose, padmasana. Any pose in yoga comes with a Sanskrit term, and it's going to have the word asana at the end of it. So Marichiyasana, today we did Uttanasana, we did Adho Mukha Svanasana, we did Bakasana. Any pose that you're in, you are sitting in your body, okay? So think of, as I move into this pose, where can I comfortably, I say that in quotation marks, where can I comfortably sit, where I can still breathe and watch and observe. So when I say comfortable, there can be some discomfort, but we practice breathing through it. Pain, we back away from, okay? Discomfort, we notice, we tune in, we breathe, we invite the body to shift, to soften, to unwind, whatever it is that we feel like we need. Slowly bring yourself back. You're going to take the bottoms of your feet together in Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose or butterfly. Some of you, your knees will be able to touch the ground, so if that's the case, go ahead. Lifting up and folding forward. Some of you are going to take your head all the way to the ground. Some of you are going to want to slide your feet out a little bit because, like me, your hips and low back might be a little tighter. And then fold yourself down. Again, if you have your block, your pillow, your bolster, you could place it out in front of you so you have something to rest into. Inhale here. And exhale. Breathing in. And breathing out. Do a little body scan. Notice if you're holding any stress or tension in your face. Maybe you're clenching your teeth or your jaw. If you are, gently soften and open that space. And then round your back up, lengthening your spine. We're going to come into a supine
pose. So supine poses, if you're taking anatomy, this class might be helpful for that. You're gonna lie on your back. You're gonna lift your knees so they're hovering up over your hips. Supine means that we're just facing the sky. And then you're gonna take your arms open with your palms facing the ground. For this first one, your knees are gonna tip towards me. Now, if you can't comfortably get your legs all the way to the ground, your pillow, your bolster, your folded up blankets can come underneath your legs, and then you're gonna look away. Breathing in and breathing out. And the goal here is to breathe into the belly to get the spine to unwind. You might get a little popping through your back. Gently breathe to invite your body to shift back into balance. And then lift your chin to the sky. Lift one leg at a time back up to the midline. Readjust your spine, your head if you need to. And then knees fall away, gaze comes forward. Place your opposite hand onto your waistline. Close your eyes. Inhale. And exhale. And then chin to the sky. Lift one leg back up at a time. Wrap your arms around your shins and give a little rock from side to side. So as weeks progress, you'll get used to different sequences, and as I add on and give you different options, you'll say, okay, yeah, I see what you're doing, but I remember that one day we did this and that worked better for me. Please always do what works for you, okay? You know, lift your legs up, put your hands on your belly, and close your eyes. Inhale. Now, if you have space at your house where you literally can slide your legs up against a wall, we call this pose legs up the wall. It'll be the last pose for our movement practice, and you're welcome to stay in this or rock up, and you're going to come into your seated meditation. So for your seated meditation, left palm on top would represent receptivity. Left side of the body energetically is representative of the feminine energy of the moon. It's the go with the flow, soft, nurturing energy. It doesn't matter if you are male or female or whatever you're choosing, okay? Left side of the body is feminine energy, which means that you as a human get to be soft, nurturing, receptive, okay? Right side of the body represents masculine energy, so that is your get up and go. It's the energy of the sun. It's that active energy principle where you are creating with what you're putting out into the world. So you might choose to put your right hand on top with the essence of intentionally letting go of something, okay? You might choose to put your left hand on top with the intention of intentionally opening up to be receptive to love, peace, whatever you need flowing into your life. You might also choose what we did last time with Chin Mudra, where forearms rest, finger to thumb. Either way, whatever you choose, close your eyes. Lengthen through your spine. And observe your breath. So there's a specific type of meditation called Vipassana. Vipassana meditation is just observation of breath. So notice that space between your nose and your upper lip, and see if you could just feel your breath coming in and feel your breath coming out. If your mind wanders, notice the wandering, and then gently invite your mind to come back. And you might have to bring it back every single breath. It doesn't matter. Don't judge the process. Just invite yourself to be present with the process. down to the mat, down to the ground, down to the carpet, whatever you're sitting on the grass. If you were with us last time or you watched the video of the tingsha bells, or what I will ring to bring you out of your meditation and out of your shavasana. So you have a couple options now. We're going to finish our practice with what we call shavasana. Next week in class we'll talk about the philosophy of why yoga flows, the way that it does with our physical practice, and then our seated meditation, and then our shavasana. We'll go over all that, okay? So if you are in a comfortable space, go ahead and lie down. If you need to pause to go grab something more comfortable, a pillow for your head or for underneath your legs. This one right here, pillow underneath the legs, for a lot of people just kind of helps alleviate back pain. If you do have something to prop up, usually first, second practice in class when we're together, I give you a block and a bolster. Okay, so if you can set up something like this where it's elevated at the back and you can slide your hips all the way onto it and rest your spine back so your head's supported, shoulders are supported, ribs and hips are supported, legs can extend if it's comfortable for you. Sometimes in shavasana I like to keep my knees bent, tip them together because it feels better on my back. Okay, so you do what feels best for you. You're going to turn your chin to the sky. Open up your palms, whether you're choosing to lie flat or on the elevated variation. And as you lay flat on your shavasana posture, shavasana translates as corpse pose. Shavasana symbolically represents death. So at the end of every yoga practice, we've taken ourselves through our bodies, through our minds, moving the body in all directions, challenging the body with hard things for us, either flexibly or physical strength-wise. We want to challenge the body. We'll give you more opportunities to do that throughout the semester, okay? As we challenge the body, things come up in the mind. I can't do this. This is too hard for me. I'm not strong enough. I'm not flexible enough. In this scenario, we're a little lucky in that we're not looking at the people next to us. So give yourself permission every time you come to your mat to just be in the edges of your own skin. To not remember what you used to be able to do when you were a little kid. To not be able to compare to what you did before you broke your leg or your arm or your hip or whatever experiences you've had in your body. But just say, today I'm going to be where I am. Our practice takes us symbolically through our life in our bodies. And as we come to shavasana, to this final resting pose, we allow ourselves to let go of anything that came up during our practice. So if you felt your ego come up during your practice, we take this time to recognize it and let it go. If you felt anxiety or judgment of your body come up during this practice, we give ourselves permission to be conscious of it so that we can let it go. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to breathe and to watch and observe anything that may have come up to your conscious level during your practice so that you can be aware and consciously choose to let it go. For some of you, at some point, your awareness will continue sifting deeper and deeper and deeper. The thoughts will dissipate. The sounds will dissipate. You might even kind of go into like a trance-like experience. Allow yourself to experience this full bliss of complete relaxation and release. exactly the way that you are. Take a breath in and exhale all the way out. When you heard the tingsha bells ring, if you hurried and sat up and opened your eyes, that's okay. Notice it, and next time you practice, just say, oh yeah, she told me that she'd ring them, and I'm just going to stay here where I am and just start to bring my awareness back. So stay right where you are in your shavasana. So shavasana is representative of death and dying, corpse pose. At the end, it's like the phoenix bird rising out of its own ashes. So knowing that you're rising up anew, how do you want to approach your day? Create an intention of what it is that you want to create or how it is that you want to approach your life. Take an inhale. As you exhale, gently bring your feet to plant flat on the mat. If you're flat on the floor, you probably will want to do one of two things. Roll to your side and press up, or hug your knees into your chest and rock up. If you're propped up on something, you're probably going to lift your head and use your core to bring yourself up. Now coming back to a seated position, we'll finish our practice together. Inhale, reach your arms out and up. And then bringing your hands to your heart. Namaste. Okay. If you are still listening, you need to get on Canvas and tell me that you did today's practice. And it would be great if you also told me that my shirt has a tiger with blue eyes on it, because then I'll know that you practiced. Namaste.